Well, I wanted to talk about open prep. I know people are like, what the hell, Wooly? It's not even October yet." But the open's right around the corner. It's
Oh,
close, dude. I don't think people are thinking about it already, but we're already in September. So you basically have September, October, November, December, and January is not enough time. January is gonna fly by, and then you are in the open
yep.
that
It's
quick.
about
So we
about 4 months of prep, right?
Yeah, basically for
Okay.
4 months. So I
Yep.
was hoping we could figure out if 4 months is enough time to say, "All right, if I could really focus on 3 to 4 things, like really impactful, what would make a huge difference or make a significant difference in open placement between now and then? What would those things be?" If you had to like pick those things, what would be your first thing you'd think of?
Well, the number one separator between people in the open, it almost always boils down to a specific skill that they do or do not have. Um, and it even if you're in the RX division, it's do you have proficient double unders? Do you have proficient chest to bar pull ups? Do you have proficient toes to bar? Do you have bar and ring muscle ups? That's kind of like the core, and also I'd probably throw handstand push-ups in there. All or most of those movements will show up in some capacity, and I would immediately identify, put all those movements on the table and say, which one can you not do at all? And if you can't do, let's say, ring muscle ups, you're like, I don't have any of those. I have a few of all the other ones, but no ring muscle ups. That's that first domino you got to knock over because it's a huge separator, right? If you're trying to make it to the
Right.
next level or trying to get the best placing possible, the difference when a muscle up shows up in a workout, the difference between 0 and 1 is tens of thousands of places on the leaderboard. So without actually getting more fit, quote unquote, like stronger or faster or more flexible or any of that, you can work on skills, and that is kind of like a hack that will drastically improve your open performance. So I identify those kind of core skills that I just mentioned, and I'd say which one are my weakest. Let's say two, maybe three, and that's what you need to be working on a couple days per week. Even if it's just 15 to 20 minutes each time, you need to be consistently working on progressions to help you learn and maybe even become proficient at those movements so that when it does show up in the open and you're really tired at the end of a workout, you're still able to do them because that's going to separate you from thousands and thousands of people.
Do you prioritize any of those movements? So I know you're saying pick the one you can't do, but assuming you can do them all, which a lot of people could, yeah, in some degree, would you prioritize one over the other?
I think I think double unders are the one that messes people up maybe the most is because someone who can do double unders, that's one thing, but someone who can do double unders when they're under heavy fatigue and they're 10 minutes into a really spicy metcon, as we say in CrossFit, that's a huge differentiator. And what's cool about double unders is it doesn't require more strength. It doesn't require more anything other than just kind of getting that skill and that rhythm to click. And when you get it to click, then all of a sudden you're blowing by people who are tripping up every
Right.
5 to 10 reps. So I'd say double unders because we know they're showing up. That's one that's been in every single open, I'm pretty sure. We know that double unders will show up and they're gonna trip up, literally, for lack of a better word, so many people. So I'd say double unders are one that's easy to practice with that, and getting a bunch of double under volume isn't really gonna bang you up too much, right? Like practicing a ton of ring muscle ups, it can bang you up. It can really
Right.
all those pulling muscles, your hands might get ripped up, whatever. But double unders, you can kind of throw in double unders 3 days a week easily after whatever workout you're doing, and you're not going to get too banged up. So I'd say double unders is kind of like the lowest hanging fruit there. And then additionally, I'd say muscle ups because again, the difference between being able to do a muscle up tired and being able to do a muscle up are two totally different things. So muscle ups under fatigue, I'd say would be the next most important one.
I'm always amused at how we have very similar thoughts, but for different reasons.
Mhm.
So those are the 2 I had in my mind. For me, it's always about the gamemanship of it. I was thinking double unders. I think you're spot on. Like your advice is exactly right. Being able to do it under fatigue is really important. My thought was is if you can get good at double unders, the difference between someone that's good and someone that's average is a significant number of reps in
Oh
a
yeah.
really short period of time. So like you can blow past somebody by 30 to 50 reps in 30 seconds if you're good at double unders,
Yep.
as opposed to that person that's like tripping, tripping, tripping.
Yep.
And so that's why double unders are always so important to me and to consistently be good at them. And for me, I always try to practice them with odd movements, like different things each time. So do some box jumps and double unders, do some wall walks and some double unders, do some heavy cleans and some double unders. Like
Mhm.
you have to get used to moving into those reps, doing something different each time so you know what that stimulus feels like. So you can consistently knock out big rounds of reps.
Mhm.
And the muscle up, same thing. It's the gamemanship of it. The difference between being able to do one muscle up and two can be thousands of spots on the leaderboard.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of the opposite, but the same result. You don't have to be able to beat someone by 100 reps. So you beat them by one, it can be a huge jump. You beat them by two, it's even more, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So it's really, you said it isn't necessarily about being more fit. It's about moving up the leaderboard quicker in an open type scenario. Although I do think with this amount of lead time, it does lead to more fitness for whatever that's
Mhm.
worth.
Yep. For sure.
What would be your number two thing you focus on?
Beyond skills, you mean?
Hmm. Or I don't know. You got 4 months till they open. Like you got to prioritize what are the things I'm going to work on between now and February.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, like I would focus on identify 2 to 3 skills, like for sure that you could knock out. Once you've identified those skills and you've maybe created a plan or purchased a WOD prep plan to get better at those skills, then I'd also really start basically between now and the open. Ideally, a perfect program is going to start to have you do more open style workouts. So I would be practicing pacing, right? During class, I think a lot of people try to treat every class like it's hey, I'm just trying to get my best score on the class leaderboard, and that's fine. But I think class workouts or whatever programming you're following, it's a great time to practice, and it's a great time to practice various things like negative splits. So, for instance, let's say you did like a Helen or something like that. Maybe rather than just trying to do Helen as fast as possible, try doing Helen in a way where round one is your slowest round, and then round two is a little faster, and then round three is the fastest one. I think a lot of people do it the exact opposite. But when you start practicing and playing around with your pacing and you get familiar with what it's like to do maybe a 20-minute AMRAP where each round is the same, like you're almost doing it to an EMOM timer or something like that. You're trying to have even splits throughout or negative splits throughout. That's the kind of stuff that really teaches you how to manage your heart rate, manage your breathing, and actually be pay attention, pay conscious attention to your pacing rather than just going, I'm going to start as fast as I can and I'm just going to try to hold down. And when I get tired, I'm going to go slower because that's how a lot of people treat any Metcon. So I'd really, really hone in and focus on trying to practice your pacing in workouts, even if that sacrifices, let's say, your best score. What does it feel like when you go absolutely full send, like true red line, and see where that red line is on a shorter workout? Or what happens when you force yourself to go really slow in the beginning? Does that make you actually move faster throughout the whole workout because you don't burn out in the beginning? You kind of have to play with your strengths and weaknesses and then go backwards from there. If you feel like longer workouts are a problem for you because you always get burnout early on, then force yourself, hey, I'm going to try the first half of the workout. I'm literally going to go at like 75% of my normal speed and see how you feel towards the end of the workout because that might actually show you that it's way better to pace that way. So I would say it's a bit of a vague answer, but I would say work and practice on different pacing strategies. Some red line, some way below your threshold, somewhere in between. Try going faster as the workout progresses. Try keeping it even every single round as the workout progresses. Those kinds of things. Really paying attention to the split times.